Goedemorgen iedereen, we zijn hier weer met een wekelijks gesprek in de reeks Runner-Up Talk. Vandaag praten we met iemand die in 1980 derde geworden is en amper 2 jaar later al opnieuw deelnam, daar zevende geworden is. Nu treedt ze vooral nog op in Broadway en West End producties en dat is Sally Ann Triplett. So for you, it's already the first participation 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
19.
Yes. It was 40 years, yeah. In
1980.
In like May time, last May, yeah.
Yeah. And when did you first hear about the Eurovision Song Contest?
I guess I watched it. Well, I know I watched it at home, so that would have just been growing up. I don't think I ever really thought much about it other than it was a really good fun thing for us all to watch on a Saturday evening. Yeah. And we always had great people in it, like Cliff Richard and I guess Lulu, although I probably don't remember Lulu. It was a little bit before my remembering times. And then when I went to college, my singing teacher, who is a very infamous singing teacher in London, Mary Hammond, I was still at college in my second year, and she was asking people if they wanted to audition for this job. It wasn't the Eurovision, it was something else. It was like I had to record at the studios of 10cc. It was amazing.
Yeah, I've read about that.
It was like probably the best studio at the time in England that you could, and it was my first kind of gig that I ever did. And then from there, I just, like it does in life, I just met someone and they knew someone else. And then I found myself auditioning for the Song for Europe. And I guess they didn't really know what they wanted, but they ended up picking 3 girls, 3 boys. I was one of them, and I was in the middle with the lead guy, but I was still at college. So I did all these, I can't really remember it so well because I was only 17, but I did all this kind of extra publicity, TV things, Song for Europe, making videos, traveling to Holland because after we won the Song for Europe, but I was actually still training. And on the Saturday night, we represented, Prima Donna represented Britain, the United Kingdom, and as you know, we came third. And then the next day, Sunday, we travelled home. And on the Monday morning, I went back to college.
Yeah. So you had to combine everything, college, Eurovision, the singing career.
Yes. So, yeah, exactly. And somehow I managed to not miss any much college.
So you succeeded for college?
Yes, yeah. Finished my 2 years and then I left, and obviously I then did the Eurovision a couple of years after that again.
Yeah, so you had already, but 2 years college was not the full...
2 years was the full thing, yeah. It was a 2 year.
Here in Belgium we are used to that it's about 3 years.
Yeah, I think some people did an extra year, but most people, especially by then, I was ready and eager, or I was already working. I was eager to leave. So yeah.
And did you immediately want to do the Song for Europe, or did you have to think about it because of the college that you were still?
Because I was still at college.
Yeah, you were still at college, so maybe you had to think.
I mean, my goodness, Matthias, it's so long ago. I can't remember specific feelings, but I guess I must have asked someone, but because the audition had come through my teacher at college, it was kind of like it was because of my college that I got the job.
Yeah.
So I don't think they minded. And I think, you know, back then when you were at college, you didn't have agents coming to see you in things. So it was great if you were finding your own work.
And the song for Europe I read in 1980 was very, very close. So close that there was one with Prima Donna and Maggie Moon. And it seemed there were no rules deciding about such a case because the host, Terry Wogan, panicked and let all the jurors vote again.
That's right. So when they realized it was a tie, it was literally sort of flying by the seats of their pants. They didn't really know what to do. And you could, if you watch it back, you can kind of see the kind of slight panic in everyone's eyes. Anyway, I remember the floor manager so well. He was absolutely brilliant. It was either go around all the judges in the country and ask them to judge for one thing and see who got the most, or they had to play the 9 o'clock news and come back to it after the news. And they didn't know how long it would take. But at the time, back in 1980, the news was never moved for anything.
Yeah.
9 o'clock news came in at 9 o'clock and not a second after.
So they had to take a break from the Song of Europe, go to the news, and then...
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. What happened was the floor manager brilliantly made everyone quickly get on the same page, and they went around all the different judges and we managed to not only get another vote, we worked out that Prima Donna had won, and then we sang the song as well at the end. And then it went to the news exactly at 9 o'clock. It was really, if you talk to anyone that worked on it at the time, sort of backstage, they will tell you that it was one of the most exciting things that ever happened, because it was live TV. There was nothing they could do. They had to kind of either do it there and then, or wait another, I guess the news was half an hour long at the time. And then there was another program, you know, in the slot for after that. So yeah, it was very exciting.
Yeah, it must have been really tense for the production and everyone in the BBC.
It was, yeah, it was great.
And did you expect, or how much chance did you give Prima Donna to win that British national final?
To win the Song for Europe?
Yeah.
I honestly don't think I really thought about it. I was so young, as I said already. I was like, wow, what's going on? I was doing photo shoots and recording and meeting people and traveling. And I guess in my world, I was just, you know, just immersed in this kind of new world. I do remember that when we all heard Johnny Logan, it was, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, the best song in the whole thing. And I think that we all kind of knew that there was really not much of a chance that he wouldn't win, because he was so good. And we.
So you were satisfied actually with that third place?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything, or I wasn't disappointed. I was just happy to be involved in it, and you know, to be part of it, be in the group. I remember sitting next to Johnny Logan on a coach, so we had to be sort of transported we were all in the same hotel, and transported to the hall where we were doing the concert. And I remember so well sitting next to him, the two of us having a little chat. He was so lovely. Yeah, but it was fun times.
Now we're talking about Johnny Logan. You said you expected him to win, that he couldn't lose actually.
Yeah.
In an interview with the Sunday Post earlier this year, I read that you mentioned an evening with Johnny Logan and his band the night before Eurovision, and one of his band members jokingly said, "Let's get them drunk so they can't perform properly tomorrow." Were they equally afraid of you as you were of Johnny Logan?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they were his musicians, so musicians and lead singers play by different rules. You know, Johnny Logan was upstairs in bed getting some sleep, probably, or doing interviews or something. And the band members, we were all, because in our band was Kate Robbins, who's an amazing pianist. Like, you want her at your party. She's so good. And so there was a piano, and she was playing, and someone else would play, and we would sing, and I heard one of them say, "Come on, let's get them drunk so that they can't sing tomorrow." So we were like laughing about that. And then the next morning was the day of the Eurovision. And I had my own room, but I think Kate and Jane, I think they shared because they were sisters. And they knocked on my door. And when they came in, Kate, who's the pianist, she was like going, and she was like pointing and saying, I've lost my voice. And just for a split second, you know, she had me. And then I was like, I know you're joking. So it was fun. It was a nice little
very much fun
that we had. Yeah.
But in the voting sequence itself that evening, I watched a short part of the voting sequence of that time. It still seemed quite exciting until a certain point. I think there were 4 or 5 countries being close to each other. Ireland, the UK, the Netherlands, also Spain, I believe, Portugal.
I don't remember, honestly. I mean, that waiting area, God, I mean, I wish I could remember for you. It's such a long evening, you know, especially if you're performing in it, because you've just got this huge build up, and then you have to sit and, you know, back in 1980, can you hear me? Release, Denmark, come in. You know, there was all that going on. But you know, it was always so exciting, that countdown. I should really watch it again, because I don't remember how close we got. Although I think Johnny Logan kind of ran away with it, didn't he?
And I believe Prima Donna was comprised especially for Eurovision. Was it meant to go on as a band after?
No, I don't think so. I went back to college. I mean, we all went our separate ways literally the next day. So it was, as you said, it was just put together for the Eurovision. But when I was in Bardo 2 years later, that was a different kettle of fish, because the single, like Prima Donna, Love Enough for Two, I think it got to number 48 in the charts, in the UK charts. But Bardo got to number 2. So it was a hit. It was a hit single. And we released 2 more singles after that, and did quite a lot of traveling to places like Germany and stuff. So that was a different, you know, and we were signed to CBS Epic and stuff. But Prima Donna was different. It wasn't a hit. You know, although we represented Britain, it was never going to, after that Eurovision. It would have won, yeah, maybe, but it was never going to carry on after that night.
And did you or already know that you would like to go back to Eurovision? Or because I read it was a big coincidence that you were selected for the Song for Europe, a Song for Europe in 1982.
Yeah.
You were waiting at an audition for a friend.
I was waiting for so I'd just done a Christmas show, pantomime, in Cambridge, and Steve Fisher, who was in Bardo with me, we were in Panto together, and we had fallen in love, and we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and we finished on Saturday night, and we said, let's meet Monday morning. So we met Monday morning in North London at Hampstead, and he said, I have one thing to do today. It won't take too long. I just have to go and sing in this studio. Do you want to come with me? So I went with him, and he had been asked to be in Bucks Fizz the year before, but he had to turn it down because he was contracted to a show. So they wanted him for the following year for Bardo. So he was in there and he was singing, and he came out at the end, and he was kind of like, well, I've done my bit. And the lady, Nicola Martin, who managed Bucks Fizz, she came out and looked at me and said, I know you, and recognized me from Prima Donna. And then just said, come in and sing with Steve. And Steve and I we'd just been singing together, and we were, and always had been, always, and probably if we sang together today, it would still be the same thing. We were all always in sync with each other, and could like breathe in the same place, and could follow each other, and didn't sing over each other. So I went in and sang with Steve, and she decided there and then that we would be Bardo.
And was Bardo meant from the beginning for a Song for Europe, for Eurovision?
Yes. Yeah.
And did you ever plan to go back to Eurovision, or wouldn't you have gone if they had asked you?
I never gave it a second thought. It wasn't, in between doing the first Eurovision and the second Eurovision, I'd been in a West End show, I'd been a dancer, I'd done singing, like I'd done acting. So it wasn't, I wasn't even in a band, I was in theatre. So
and
it wasn't something.
You're still doing theatre now?
Yes. I've been living in New York for 6 years. I did couple of Broadway shows, and I did Sweeney Todd, a very sort of acclaimed production of Sweeney Todd off Broadway. And before the lockdown happened, I was supposed to do a play in Nottingham. So, it's ongoing. I work all the time.
But now you're at home a lot, I guess.
Yeah, we were in New York, but now we're in London, back in London near my mum. And my daughter's just started songwriting college, but my son is in New York, so we're still a little bit spread out. But yeah.
So maybe your daughter will follow in your footsteps one day, and you.
Well, Max already has. Max is you can see Max online very easily. He's very prolific songwriter. Has had 3 albums. It was on The Voice. Like he's done very well.
And what's his surname?
Milner, Milner.
I will look him up.
Yeah,
he's
very
nice
good.
to discover new people, new music.
He's got his latest music is fantastic. Yeah.
But to go back to Eurovision 1982, I've read that you were one of the favorites to win. But then
we were the favorite to win.
Yeah, but then
there was no one else. We weren't one of the favorites. We were the favorite. You were the bookies' favorite, like beyond anyone. We were way out in front, to the point like it was the complete reverse of Prima Donna, because you almost had to kind of put your fingers in your ears because everyone said we were going to win. All the TV things, all the bookies, all the other contestants, everyone said we would win. And the reason we didn't, was a couple of things. I guess the BBC, I don't know. I mean, it's so, who knows what goes on behind the scenes, but the BBC had already done Bucks Fizz. They'd already not Bucks Fizz. They'd already done the Eurovision with us, and I don't think they wanted to do it like 2 years in a row because it's quite expensive. But I guess the main reason was the Falklands War was on at the time, and yeah, that went against us quite heavily.
So the Falklands War was going on in that period?
Pardon?
The Falklands War was going on in that period?
Yes.
And they didn't want to bring the song contest to...
The Falklands War was just made the Eurovision much, much more political than it would have been. Yeah. So where England, the United Kingdom rather, would have been selected as a winner because of the Falklands War and whatever was going on with that, we lost a lot of votes. And the song that won spoke about a little piece. So we kind of didn't have, it was when no one really kind of saw that coming. Everyone thought that they would, because it was One Step Further was such a great track, such a great recording and a great song.
So I'm trying to understand, was it the public that didn't want to bring Eurovision to the UK during the Falklands War, or the BBC also said that they rather didn't?
No, I mean, it's not what anybody actually said, it's just reading between the lines and, you know, getting a sense of what other people said at the time. Yeah.
So maybe without that, you would have been a Eurovision winner.
Yeah.
And how disappointed were you that you
well, again, not disappointed at all. I think the people around us were more disappointed than Steve and I. We were together. We were in love. We were just having the most amazing time. The single was the week after the Eurovision. The single was at number 2. So, you know, regardless of Eurovision, it had become a hit. We were still traveling a lot, doing TV shows and traveling all around Europe, recording. You know, it was a great time. The fact that we didn't win, it didn't mean that we weren't still good or we didn't still want to be Bardo. We just, I don't think we even really thought about it too much. I think everybody else thought that we would be disappointed. And one of the guys that worked for the record company, we were very late to the party after the Eurovision that night in Harrogate, and everyone was talking about us. All the newspapers were talking about us. We're a Bardo and all this. And in actual fact, we were just having our own little private party before joining the big party. And this guy from the record company had his bagpipes, and he kind of started up the bagpipes, and we all went into the party and he played the bagpipes. And yeah, I mean, we had a great time. I think it was everybody else thought that we were disappointed, and we weren't.
And how much? Bardo made in total 3 singles, I believe.
Yes, 3, yeah.
So what made you split up?
What made us split up? I guess when you're put together for the Eurovision, as close as Steve and I were, we were still put together by other people that wrote the songs, by other people that produced the songs, by other people that gave us what to wear, our look, our image. And so after that, you're then trying to figure out who Bardo are and how, what's their image and how do they sell records and what do those records sound like now? Do they sound like One Step Further, or do they sound... So it's always very difficult when a band is just put together like that. And I guess that was one of the things, and I guess we were young and maybe we didn't really want to do it so much after that. Steve and I were in a band after that. We used to gig, and we had a manager who used to manage the Eurythmics, and we re-recorded an album, very, very different music. So yeah, a mixture of things, not one thing in particular, just, it's the way it went, life, I guess.
2009, you stated to the BBC that you would consider a return if you were offered a strong ballad. We haven't seen you return since, so I guess you aren't offered that strong ballad yet.
Yeah, I guess I never got offered anything. Yeah, I think it was sort of tongue in cheek when I got asked that question. So I think the interviewer kept asking me, and then in the end I just said, look, I said, if an amazing song came along, I mean, it would be a talking point, definitely, if I were to do it again. I mean, I don't know. Like, if somebody came to me and said, like, next week, Sally, I've written this song and I'm submitting it for Song for Europe, would you consider singing it? I probably would have a go. I probably would see what it was like. I probably wouldn't be able to, like, Eurovision is I guess back in the days of Cliff Richard, the songs that we put forward were the best of our music at the time. The artists we put forward were the best at the time, like Cliff Richard, Lulu. But then, they started putting groups together, especially made for it, like me. And so, it's not, you started to feel that it wasn't representative of British music and British music scene. And since then I've done loads of things, and it's not that I'm not proud of Eurovision, but it's just another thing that I've done, if you see what I mean. I've done so many things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that I am proud of it. I'm very, very proud of it. But it's not, unfortunately, it's not a thing that serious musicians run to, because every time the United Kingdom enters, no matter how good we are, we don't get any points.
Now the UK is, like you say, they don't get a lot of points. What should the UK do to become a powerhouse again?
Well, even if Coldplay were to represent us, I still think we would probably not get many points, because it's just far too political. People don't want us to win. They don't. And I don't know whether next year, after the year that we've all had, for starters, I don't know if there's going to be a Eurovision. But if there was, and maybe even then next year, maybe we're still doing it online, would things change? Would we be more caring for each other? Would we take it as a song contest, which is what it is, which was what it was always supposed to be, a song contest. It's not supposed to be about what country you're from, not supposed to be political. but it just has, and it has for a long time. So
it's too political now, and the people don't like the UK enough, you say, to make them win.
no, I mean, I guess people don't like the UK, but they also want to vote for their neighbours. You know, they want to vote for people that they want to keep in with. But
Yeah.
I don't understand that, because it's just a song contest, you know. I think if they could try and find some other way of voting, it might be better. So it's not this country, that country. Maybe it's just a phone-in from everyone. You know, I think that would be better. Although then it wouldn't be the Eurovision. You wouldn't be able to go around all the different countries. But if Joe Public could vote for their favourite song, I think it would be a lot different.
So how would you do the voting? You said you would let people
just ring. You would just have just people could ring in or text or vote or do it online, and it wouldn't go around the countries anymore. It would just be like an X Factor thing, you know, where wish the fly would leave me alone. just free for all.
So you would take away the country part of Eurovision.
The commentary part. No, keep the commentary. Keep all the traditional parts of Eurovision, but just vote for it differently. It's just daft. We're never going to win again, ever. Not if all the countries are voting for their best friends.
So, that's
yeah, very sad.
Even with Coldplay or whoever or Harry Styles, you wouldn't win.
I still don't think we'd win. I don't think we would. Not if it went round to all the different countries. People just vote for their mates.
You would no longer do it with people representing a country, if I understood it well, or you would keep the country?
No, I think they would represent their country, but you wouldn't, go around all the countries. You just have a blanket number for the whole of Europe to ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
So it depends on the people who are voting to take the political part away.
If they can, yeah. Yeah.
And would you, so as long as there is a political part, I think you wouldn't come back a third time?
Keep asking me this question. Have you got a song in mind? Have you written a song for me?
Not yet. I can try. I'm busy with one, so maybe you never know.
Who knows? I doubt it.
Yeah.
Very much. Bit old now.
Well, there were people who were older that went to Eurovision.
That's true.
People who were in their 70s or maybe 80s.
That's true.
Yes. Even for the UK a few years ago.
Yeah. So I've got like another 20 years, 30 years. I've got loads of time. It's loads of time for me to do it.
And if you had to choose 5 more West End productions or one more time Eurovision, what would you choose?
Oh, 5 more theatre productions.
Yeah. That's clear.
Because it's if I was still in Bardo now, if we were still recording and touring like Bucks Fizz, for example, that would be my world. But my world has not been that. My world has been the theatre. So my heart is in theatre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just would like to come back to the political thing. You said that it's become too political. Don't you think then that the winners are the rightful winners, that the songs are not, you had the Netherlands last year, Portugal, even Austria in 2014. don't you think that were the strongest songs? Or
Probably, but the people that people want to be left out are the dregs at the bottom. So yes, I think that sometimes, usually the best song does rise to the top. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I've only really started watching Eurovision the last 2 or 3 years again. Honestly, there's a whole load of years where I never even watched it. But because I was living in New York, it felt a bit like being at home. So it was a nice thing to do. So I have kind of looked at it the last few years. I don't know that some of the songs are good. My daughter and I love Euphoria. We love that.
Yeah, that's
and Fairy Tale. We love Fairy Tale. What else do we like?
So although you didn't follow it anymore, you heard the winners.
Yeah. Well, this Eurovision just gone. Graham Norton did a program on the television, and my daughter and I did some kind of homemade idents to be part of this evening. And so we ended up really listening to a lot of old Eurovision acts. It was fun. And then the stuff that we recorded was in the program on BBC One. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. So yeah, this year, I think Grace and I, especially, we've got to know quite a lot of the past acts.
I will let you prepare for the party.
Thank you very much. Nice to talk to you, Matthias.
Yeah, thank you very much for wanting to talk to us.
My pleasure. Good luck with all your lovely things you're doing for people to make them happy.
Yeah, the same to you.